Except praise the Lord to everyone. We're getting ready to begin our Sunday school lesson for today, and it's entitled David's Sacrifice, and it's taken from 1 Chronicles, the 21st chapter, and our scripture reading is from, the background scriptures is 21 verses 14 through 30. And we are in the 21st chapter of 1 Chronicles. And I will, before we get to our lesson, which starts at verse 14 of the 21st chapter, I want to call your attention to several verses in the 21st chapter. And namely, it is starting with verse 3. Actually verse 2, because verse 2 talks about numbering Israel. And verse 2 says, David said to Joab. Now, Joab was one of his officers, or commanding officers, if you want to call that, of his army. David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, "Go number Israel from Beersheba unto Dan, and bring the number of them to me, that I may know." Now, this is the sin that David committed, that is, numbering the people. David wanted to conduct a census. Now, this was not a general census. This was a census of the fighting men. Now, we're not going to read all of it, but this was a census of the fighting men, not just a general census. So this is what David decided to do, said to Joab. As I said, Joab was one of his commanding officers, and said, "Number the people from Beersheba to Dan. Bring me the number." And Joab answered, "The Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be, but may my Lord the king," that is David, "my Lord the king," this little Lord, okay, he's talking about David, "my Lord the king, that they, not all my Lord's servants, why then do my Lord, require this thing? Why will he be a cause to trespass to Israel?" Now, for whatever reason, Joab said, that's not a good idea. You see in verse 3, Joab is saying, well, I don't think that's such a wise idea. But now David is the king, though. He's the king. So verse 4 said, "Nevertheless, the king prevailed." In other words, it's the king's word. The king overruled Joab. So the king prevailed against Joab. Okay? Therefore, Joab departed. So, what is he going to do? Well, the king said, we're going to number the people. Joab told him, this may not be a good idea to number the people. Whatever reason Joab had, he had this, I don't know if it was from God or whatever, but Joab had the idea, it's not a good idea, but you're the king, okay. So in verse 7, God was displeased with this thing, therefore he smote Israel. What was he displeased with? David numbering the people. Why? It's not really clear, but God was displeased. That's what verse 7 says. And 8 says, "And David said unto God, I have sinned greatly, because I have done this thing. But now I beseech you, do away with the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly." So he now he confessed. Joab told him it may not be a good idea, but he went ahead and did it. He was the king. I'm the king. I'll do what I want to do. And he did it. So, and basically, that was the sin that David committed. Now, we go to verse 11, and Gad came to David. Now, Gad was a prophet. Gad. Gad came to David and said unto him, Thus said the Lord God, choose thee. Now, you've sinned. You got three options. We're going to look at them in verse 12. Either 3 years of famine, that's one. Okay, 3 years of famine, okay, that's one. Or 3 months to be destroyed before thy foe, while that the sword of thy enemies overtake thee. That's two. Got 3 options. Here's the second option. Now here's the third option. Or else 3 days of the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coasts of Israel. Now, therefore, advise thyself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. David has 3 options. They're all bad. But David is wise. David's a wise man now. David's a wise man. We're going to see David's wisdom. Okay. We're going to see David's wisdom here. Now, and David said unto Gad, the prophet, okay, verse 13, I am in a great strait. I'm in a dilemma here. Now, first one, let's say, let me now fall into the hands of the Lord, for very great are thou mercies. Now, David wasn't a dummy. He said, and it said, he said, but let me not fall in the hands of man. Don't let me fall in the hand, whatever you do, because man is not merciful. Now, they might be merciful to their family. You got to show mercy on your family. Maybe a few close friends. But as a general rule, man is not merciful. Now, we see in the scripture where it said, it repented the Lord that he did this. That's showing his mercy. It's like saying, well, the law says you get 20 years, but I'm going to give you 10. That's mercy. That's mercy. So David said, no, for whatever you do, I don't want to fall into the hands of man, because man showed no mercy. But I'm going to throw myself on God's mercy. And that's key. So David was wise in choosing to depend on the mercies of God. He chose the third option. We see he thought, and that's why our lesson takes up at verse 14. So I just led you up to see why we're talking about the pestilence, because that was the option that he chose. Okay. Now, there are 2 outlines. There are 3 outlines. 3 outlines. The first outline is the destroying angel, and that's 14 through 17. And the second outline is the fiery altar, that's 18 through 27. And the third outline is the sword of the Lord, that's verses 28 through 30. Okay, we're going to start with our first set of scriptures, our first outline, and it's the destroying angel. Okay, 14 first.
So the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel, and there fell of Israel 70,000 men.
Okay, now, as I said, this is the third option. This is the option that he chose. He gave him 3 options. Now, here's the other thing. Sin has consequences. Okay? When a sin occurs, it set the consequences in motion. Now, you can be forgiven of that sin, but the consequences still there. Now, if I get I'm robbing a bank and there's a shootout, and I get my leg shot off, and later I come to the Lord, I can be forgiven. But my leg is shot off. I'm coming to the Lord with one leg. And it said, well, you came to the Lord, so I'm going to grow your leg back. No, you got one leg, but you saved. You saved. So the consequences of the sin, just like with David sinned before with Bathsheba, there were consequences. He was forgiven, but the consequences, there was consequences. So sin set in motion consequences. And these are, and we know David was forgiven, but the consequences still remain. Now the consequences can be shortened, it can be tempered, but the consequences are still there. Okay, so it's set in motion. Even though the sin can be forgiven, the consequences still remain. So as 70,000 men fell. Now, okay, we are to 15 and 16a, all the way to 16a, right?
And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And as he was destroying, the Lord beheld, and he repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed, it is enough, stay now thy hand. And the angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
Okay, 16a.
And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and the heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem.
Okay, now, the pestilence came upon Israel, the nation of Israel. Now, Jerusalem was the capital city of, was Judah's capital city. That was the capital city. So the destruction process had already begun, and this is the subject of this outline, the destroying angel. So the destroying angel was getting ready to bring destruction upon Jerusalem. Up to this point, Jerusalem has been spared. Not Israel being destroyed, but Jerusalem had been spared up to this point. And this is what God sent an angel upon Jerusalem to destroy it. So as he was destroying, the Lord beheld and repented him of the. So basically, here's the angel with the sword drawn, getting ready to bring vengeance upon Jerusalem at this point. And here's the thing. 15b said the angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Okay. And now 16 as it, David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and heaven, having a sword drawn. Now this is the picture that David saw. Okay, getting ready to destroy Jerusalem for whatever reason. Now David most likely did not hear the Lord. The Lord told the angel, "Stay your hand. That's enough. That's okay. That's enough." So for whatever reason, David was thinking, Jerusalem is gone. It's gone. But the angel stayed his hand because the Lord told him to do this. And he didn't know, he didn't really know why Jerusalem was not destroyed. It's almost like you close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes because Jerusalem is gone. And all of a sudden, it's not destroyed, but it was the Lord that told the angel, that's enough. Stay your hand. Stay your hand. Don't destroy Israel. Now here's the thing where David depended, David had this idea that the city of Jerusalem, which was the capital city, would be spared. Okay? And we go to Micah 7:18, and Micah 7:18 says, God delighteth in mercy. So David somehow knew, well, we know David knew that God was merciful. So the Lord delighteth in mercy. Man does not delight in mercy. As I said, man will show mercy on maybe some people he loves, his family members, but as a general principle, man does not delight in mercy. But according to Micah 7:18, God delighteth in mercy. So David understood that God is merciful. God is a merciful God. Man by nature is not merciful to everybody. Now, like I said, they're merciful to their family, close friends, things like that. But as a general rule, man is not merciful. But God is merciful. God shows mercy to all without partiality. Man will show mercy, but man's mercy is based on likeness, partiality. So David said, don't let me fall in the hands of man. And it shows here that God spared Jerusalem, that is the capital city of Judah. Now, and 16b, read 16b and 17.
Then David and the elders of Israel, who were clothed in sackcloth, fell upon their faces. And David said unto God, is it not I that commanded the people to be numbered? Even I it is that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, O Lord my God, be on me and on my father's house, but not on thy people, that they should be plagued.
Now here we can get a glimpse of David's heart. Yes. Now we know David was a man after God's own heart, but now this David has a good heart, but because a lot of people, I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people, if they're in trouble, they're not going to say, well, okay, I did it. Now it's just like kids, maybe 3 kids. Well, who broke that bowl? Now one of them did it. Most likely one of them did it. Maybe not all of them, but one of them did it. At least one of them did it. It didn't just do it by itself. And the parents said, everybody gonna get it, and I know I'm gonna get the right one. Now, the one that actually did it, know they did it. They're not gonna say, okay. Let them off the hook. I did it, punish me. I mean, they're not likely to say that. But David said, in verse 7, he said, the plagues came, the pestilence came upon all of Israel. Now, did all of Israel make the decision to do this counting? No. It was David. But all Israel were punished. We read in the first verse, 70,000 men fell. Now, most of these were innocent men. So Israel was being punished. Israel. That's what it said. That was one of the choices. Israel was being punished. So David is saying, okay, I have a heart for the people. They didn't do this. Let them off the hook. Blame me and me alone. And again, that shows his heart for the people. I don't want to see them suffer for my wrong. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
That was a great intercessor for
Right.
the people. And he wasn't selfish. That shows that he was not selfish. He was thinking about the people.
Right.
And that's why God was able to say David was a man after his
Right, right, exactly. Because when you say that, you kind of scratch your head. Well, David did some real bad things. Now, if you really want to look at it, David committed two of the greatest crimes of sin there is. Murder, he committed murder. He had Bathsheba's husband Uriah killed. Murder. That's called, and it was planned, so that we call premeditated murder. And the second one is the next most serious, adultery. He committed adultery. And he didn't blame Bathsheba. He didn't say, well, she shouldn't have been out there bathing during the day. And Uriah wasn't a good husband anyway. I mean, he didn't blame anybody for his, I messed up. It's me, I messed up. He didn't say, well, yeah, Uriah, she should have been out there. And I heard that, I'm sorry, Bathsheba shouldn't have been out there. And I heard Uriah wasn't no good husband anyway. So, but none of that came up. And this is how you see he repented. This is how you see he had a repentant heart. He cared for the people. And he did not think that it was fair that the people would be punished for his wrong, for something that he did alone. And that's why you can see his character. His character. Okay? So he said, let it be, I pray thee, O Lord, be on me, my father's house, that not on thy people, that they should be plagued. Blame me and blame me alone. I'm willing to take the consequences myself. And that's the whole thing about people. They don't want to take the blame for what they did. Okay? That's the idea. And David fell on the mercy of God. I would rather be judged before a merciful God than man, because man is unmerciful. So that was what David knew about the Lord, that his mercy, he was merciful. Now, the second outline is the fiery altar, and that's 18 through 19, and really, is it, no, 18 through 27, but let's just, go to 18. And 18 said, then an angel of the Lord commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Now, this is what, as I said, Gad is a prophet of God. Gad said to David, go up, set up an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Now, this is important here. The threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So this was what the Lord commanded, a directive from the Lord, okay, through the prophet Gad. And verse 19, and David went up at the saying of Gad, which was a prophet, which he spoke in the name of the Lord. Okay, so David was commanded to set up an altar on the threshing floor. That's going to become important, threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Now, verse 20 through to 20, go to 25, all the way to 25. That'll take up.
And Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat, and as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David, and went out of the threshing floor, and bowed himself
Okay. Hold up right there. Okay, now this, he was commanded to go to the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Now, when he went there, now Ornan, he was threshing wheat. Now this was on a mountain, because they throw the wheat up, and the husk and all that flies away in the wind, and the grain fall to the ground. Okay, so it's always up higher. It's not in the valley. It's on a mountain. Okay, and Ornan was there. He saw the angel. His 4 sons was there. Ornan's 4 sons were there, and they hid themselves. Now they were threshing wheat. It says it was threshing wheat, and David came. Now David's the king. Here come the king, and the king's servants, and he saw them coming, and he bowed himself. Now Ornan was an ordinary guy. He was just an ordinary guy threshing wheat. Now he see this coming, like, okay, what is the meaning of this? I mean, why did I deserve this? This is like you see an official coming with this, what they call it, staff and entourage. I mean, this is not an ordinary thing. It's not an ordinary thing that the king, David, the king, is coming. David knew. I mean, Ornan knew. Oh, what is the meaning of this? And they bowed themselves with his face to the ground. Bowed himself to David with the face. This is what they did. Okay, David said to Ornan, grant me this place on the threshing floor. Because we see in verse 18, this is what the prophet Gad told him to go. Go to the threshing floor, Ornan the Jebusite, and altar an altar there. Well, how can I offer an altar there when it's not mine? It ain't my threshing floor. I mean, I don't own it. But if you see here, okay, he said, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto the Lord. Thou grant me it for full price, that the plague may be saved from the people. That's what he had to do, because here's the plague. They stayed the angel hand was stayed from destroying Jerusalem, which was the capital city. Like I said, the destroying process had already started. Jerusalem was on the chopping block now. And David said, okay, if I have to do this, he said, grant me the floor for full price. Ornan said to David, basically, take it. It's yours. And 23, take it, it's yours. In other words, you can have whatever you want. I give you oxen for burnt offering, because he knew that of the sacrifice, you need to, offer oxen and things like that. He knew. He said, okay, have everything. It's yours. When you talk about the king, yeah, it's yours. Go take it. Now, we know that the king and that thing represent the state. Now, we know the state can take your land. It's called eminent domain. If they want to build a highway, they taking the land. They're going to pay you something for it, but they're going to take it. So Ornan said, okay, you the king, you can take it. And I'll give you oxen, I'll give you grain, and all that, I'll give it all to you. Just take it and go. Do whatever you want to do with it. Now, here comes the sacrifice. Okay? You didn't read 24 yet, did you? Okay, so he told David, just take it. It's yours. Have it free of charge. No cost. Okay. 24 and 25.
And King David said to Ornan, nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price. For I will not take that which is thine for the Lord, nor offer burnt offerings without cause. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight.
Okay, now the lesson tells you it would be equivalent to $400,000 in today's money. Okay, but now here comes the sacrifice. Okay, a sacrifice has to cost you something. If it does not cost you anything, there is no sacrifice. Okay, if I go to my closet and I bring out clothes that's all worn out, clothes that's too little, and I donate them, I haven't given up anything. There is no sacrifice. And there has to be a sacrifice to you. There has to be a sacrifice. So David realized there has to be a cost. I'm not going to take this for nothing. If I take it for nothing, where's the sacrifice? He told him to sacrifice. Where's the sacrifice? I got the threshing floor for nothing. I got the burnt offering for nothing. And there's no sacrifice. Nothing. So the sacrifice has to cost you in order to be a sacrifice. Now, we have to sacrifice. People say, well, I gave my life to the Lord, but I'm going to do what I want to do. No. Your body, if you give your life to the Lord, your body don't belong to you, it belongs to him. So you can't take my suit of clothes and burn them. If you go to the store and buy some clothes, you can take them out in your backyard, and in most cases, and you can burn them up. But you can't come to my house and take my clothes out of my closet and burn them up because they don't belong to you. You can't do with my property what you want. And if you belong to the Lord, that's the Lord's property. You've been bought with a price. So your body don't belong to you. So you sacrifice spiritual worship. Now, the sacrifice of salvation, of sin, was paid by Christ. You don't have to sacrifice that, but you do have to sacrifice. It says, present your body a living sacrifice. So that's what we sacrifice. We sacrifice our life. We can't do with it what you want to do with it because it's not yours. If it's been given to Christ, you belong to Christ. So that's what Romans tell us. Present your body a living sacrifice, and that's where that's what the essence of the lesson is. David's sacrifice. When you sacrifice your life, you give up a particular lifestyle. It's just like you go to college. You go to college, and they say, yeah, there's this party of the year this weekend. Well, I got finals next week. I got to study. I can't go. Well, you're going to miss the party of the life of the year. You got to sacrifice that. Now, and even if you go to college, if you don't pay your tuition, my parents paid my tuition. I got a full ride scholarship, but you still had to sacrifice unless you had somebody sit in the classroom, take the notes for you, and take the test. You had to sacrifice your time in the classroom. You couldn't be out there playing baseball. You sitting in the classroom, sitting in the library, studying. So if there is no, it's got to cost something. It's got to be a cost to you. If there is no cost to you, there is no sacrifice. You can't give your life to the Lord and take it back. I think that's what they call the Indian giving, isn't it? You're giving it to him and taking it back. Well, I'm going to give my life to the Lord, but I'm taking it back. I'm going to do what I want to do. You cannot do that. So that's the essence of the sacrifice. There has to be a cost. You sacrifice is spiritual worship that you sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice for sin because that debt has already been paid. And this is what David was saying. I got to pay you. I got to pay you. So now, okay, we get to 26 and 27.
And David built there an altar unto the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings and called upon the Lord. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of burnt offering. And the Lord commanded the angel, and he put up his sword again into the sheath thereof.
Okay, so you get the picture. Here's the destroying angel, got the sword over Jerusalem, the capital city. Like I said, the destroying process has already begun. But Jerusalem is on the chopping block. And for whatever reason, all David knew that Jerusalem was not destroyed. And here we see in 27, the Lord commanded the angel. He said, stay your hand. He commanded the angel after David had built this sacrifice. He told him where to build it. So he had to purchase the property. And David was going to get it for free. David could have got it for free. He gave it to him. He offered it for free. You can have it. Have all the animals of sacrifice and wheat and everything. But David said, no. And that's the key, really, of this lesson. The sacrifice has to be a cost to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, going back to what you said in the early part of this, when you said David was wise.
Right.
This is a good example getting to this point, because if he had been in the hands of man,
Oh, no.
he wouldn't have got that far.
No.
He took a chance
Yeah.
with a just God
Yeah.
and a merciful God.
Right.
And it paid off for him.
Right. He chose the right option because it said it's just like you go to court. Now, and I make this statement, you can demand justice, but you cannot demand mercy. You can call in the court, I demand justice. But you can't say, I demand mercy. You beg for mercy. The saying, you throw yourself on the mercy of the court. And he threw himself on the mercy of God. And even though in our court, which is a secular setup, is man, but God shows mercy. When it says it repented man, it repented God, that's mercy. Instead of getting 20 years, you get 10. That's mercy. That's mercy. Because it said he chose that third option. Like I say, he wasn't given much, he wasn't given too good an option, but he chose the best one. And he chose right because, as I said in Micah, in Micah 7:18, God delighteth in mercy. Man don't delight in mercy. As a general rule, man don't delight in mercy. Like I said, they're merciful on their family. If I have to depend on somebody in this order for mercy, God first, my family second. I mean, my friends, because my friends may turn against me. Well, they say, yeah, my brother told me that so-and-so. You was my friend. But my family, I trust them to stick closer to me than that's my choice. God first and my family second, my close family second. Because you think of something about the mother. Mother could be in court. That ain't my son. That's a clone. They'll stick by you to the end. So family second, family close second. God first, family close second. Maybe friends a third. Go ahead. You got a question? Yeah, friends are close a third, but yeah. But God delighteth in mercy. And David was right. David chose correctly when he said, I'm going to trust in the mercies of God. And God is mercy. I'd rather judgment before a merciful God than man. And where we see he put the sword back in the sheath. So Jerusalem was spared because he erected this altar. Now, the idea there, the fact that the altar was on this altar, the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Now, if you know where that is, that was actually the mountain that Abraham was to offer up Isaac. That is the very same place that I'm looking for it here. But that was the mountain that Abraham was directed to go and offer Isaac. And we know that he actually did not offer up Isaac, because when they went up to the mountain, the Isaac said, well, I see the altar here, the wood there, everything is there, but where is the sacrifice? And Abraham said, the Lord will provide. And the Lord, and that statement there, that particular statement is referencing Jesus Christ. The Lord, it was pointing to the sacrifice that was made with Jesus Christ. The Lord will provide. In that case, he provided a ram in the bush, a ram. But that was pointing to Christ. And this place that Ornan was threshing wheat, that was the mountain that Isaac was to be offered. That's the significance of this place. In 18, Gad the prophet told David to go set up an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, and that was the mountain that Abraham was to offer Isaac. And as I said, he didn't do it. We know he didn't do it, but right, Mount Moriah. That's the significance of that. In other words, why here? Why here? That's the significance. And the Lord provided the sacrifice. The last outline, which is the third outline, okay, got a couple minutes, 28 and 28 through 30.
At that time, when David saw that the Lord had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, then he sacrificed there. For the tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offerings, were at that season in the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of God, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Lord.
Okay, so that's the idea, the tabernacle. That was the place where, like I said, the significance of that was that it goes back, well, we say in the Old Testament, but it goes there. That was the significance of that very spot. And Moses, not Moses, but David carried out the command. And at that time that the sword of the Lord spared Jerusalem. And because the fact that David carried out the command, and the Lord showed mercy, and Israel was spared because of the sacrifice that David made. And that's the key. The big key, I think, is the sacrifice, that the cost involved, and even the sacrifice that we make, there has to be some cost. And the fact that God is a merciful God. God is a merciful God, and he shows mercy without partiality. And the fact that you don't want to fall in the hands of man. You rather fall in the hands of a merciful God. And David was correct. And out of the three, the best out of the three, he chose the best one. He chose the best one. And that's our lesson today. David's sacrifice.